So today we're going to be covering just a couple things, as I said, specifically a couple of new features, including inventory assignment. So this relates to the inventory availability report. And we'll go into kind of more detail how to set that up, that inventory assignment, and kind of what that looks like in the Canix platform. Also a couple of reporting updates, just minor things to the kind of business intelligence reports, specifically new columns and kind of new views and filters that we'll touch on a little bit, just to give you more insight into the data that you have. The last couple of things we'll cover. So we have our first iteration of our environmental controls integration. So this is specifically for those companies, those facilities that are using environmental sensors from other software companies, such as TrollMaster, GrowLink, that track the humidity, the temperature, things like that within your facility. So with this integration, we can pull that information directly from those sensors and have it all in one place in Canix. So we'll go over kind of what that looks like, how to set that up as well, and then kind of talk through the next phase of what that's going to look like. And then finally, we'll cover grid updates. So this is kind of a site-wide update to the way that you kind of navigate in Canix. Really excited about this. That's why I saved it for last. But we'll go through kind of what that's going to look like. It's not going to be released just yet. I'm going to get more clarity on exactly when that's going to happen, but it's going to be pretty soon. So we'll cover all those things. As I said, feel free to pop any questions in the chat or the Q&A, and I'll try to cover them during the meeting or towards the end. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it. So as I said, the first thing we're going to go over is the new inventory assignment feature. So again, this is helpful for just to kind of delegate or designate certain portions of your inventory to your salespeople. So if you have product that's very popular, right, and some salespeople, you want to split it out evenly between your salespeople, so that way everyone's getting a fair share of that product. This is how we're going to do that. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is enable this functionality for the user themselves. So we're going to start by going into admin and user management. And super simple, just like with most of the other settings per user, we'll come into here and let's find my profile here. And I've already got this set up on mine, but let me just show you what it looks like. So you can click into that. We now have a new checkbox here. So receive allocated inventory. So what this means is, again, we'll go over it in just a second, but any of your salesperson, any of your salespeople, you want to have that set up for them. So that way they'll show up on the receive allocated inventory list. And then you can start assigning percentages of your inventory to that person. So from there, what we can do, and I've got this set up for a couple users, myself and also Emily. So once that's set up, once we have those specific users set up to receive that allocated inventory, we can go up to our inventory section and into assignment. So you can see here, I've got myself and I've got Emily here as well, all split up into, so we have certain percentages of subcategories of inventory that are assigned to us. So you can see I've got a few subcategories here: A-buds, half-grain pre-rolls, and then finally here at the end, I have uncategorized inventory. So again, this is kind of a general, again, a percentage of your inventory, and this is specifically based on the subcategory. So it's important, second of all, that you have, first of all, that you have that set up for the user, and second of all, that you have subcategories set up for your actual items. So just as a refresher, for those of you that may not know about subcategories or kind of what their function is, let me touch on this real quick. So if we go into items here, we have a couple tabs here. So subcategories, you can see we've got A-buds, B-buds, and again, these all correspond to those columns that we just saw in that assignments page. So we would click into that, select the item type, give the subcategory a name, and this is just our list of those general subcategories. And then from here, what we can do is select the item itself. We can click into that and then choose the subcategory. So these subcategories are all pulled from that list we just saw. And you can see I can make this A-buds, B-buds, and this is what's going to dictate the packages with this related subcategory that we can assign to specific users. So once we have that set up, again, we've got the user set up to receive allocated inventory. We've got the subcategories set up. Now going back into the assignments tab, we can see how that corresponds here. So in this example, I've got 75% of the A buds, and I've got 100% of the uncategorized, and Emily has 25% of the uncategorized and 0% A bud. So once we have those assignments set up, we can click into unassigned inventory. And so this is a list of all the packages within our facility, within this facility that we're filtered on. And then we have the inventory that we'd like to assign, right? The inventory that's going to be dictated by the rules set on that assignments page that we just were. So for example, you can see in this case, I've got seeds, alpha, omega. I've got a ton of those, but they're not available for sale yet. Maybe they haven't passed testing yet. So we haven't pushed them over to assigned inventory and essentially available for sale. So if we need to make any changes to this and move inventory over, it's just a matter of selecting these specific packages and clicking them over here. And that's going to move them to this assigned inventory category, where again, the rules that we've set on this assignments page with those percentages, that's where that information is pulled from. So they're the portions of that inventory, that assigned inventory, is split up based on the percentages we've set here and the subcategories related to those packages, to those items. So once we have all that set up, and again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hang on to them or pop them in the chat. But from here, as you can see, we've got a extensive list of assigned inventory. We're going to focus on this crack and leaf here as an example. So from here, once I have the assignment set up, I can go into my inventory availability report. And let me go ahead and get rid of that filter real quick. So because I'm an admin, I'm not really seeing anything here. And one thing I do want to clarify is this available to sell. This is the only column in this report that's going to be affected by those assignment settings that we just set. So the percentages, the subcategories, the allotments, all that, this is the only column in this report that is affected by that number. So total, available, allocated, these are all going to remain the same just based on the rules that you know about the inventory availability report. It's strictly this available to sell column that's affected. So again, because I'm an admin, I have the opportunity to filter on a specific sales rep. If you're logged in as a sales rep, you're going to see your name here and you can select that and see that information. Let's use Emily as an example here. So if you select Emily here, you can see I've got, some of these are negative, and that's because some of those assignments are not set up properly. The percentages are a little bit off. But one that we can look at here is that crack and leaf. So as you can see, Emily only has 1.25 pounds available to sell. Even though we have a total 5 pounds total available, if she's working from this available to sell column, sees that she can only sell 1.25 pounds of this. And that's because her uncategorized assignment is set to 25%. So it's taking 25% of what is actually available and giving that as her assignment. This is the assigned inventory that she can sell. And in addition to that, once you have that information, again, your salespeople, lots of salespeople work from this inventory availability report. In the past, you would have this open along with the sales order and kind of working from that based on what's available. A new feature that's a recent feature, I should say, is that now you can create a sales order directly from this inventory availability report. So this is especially helpful utilizing this assignment feature. So she sees that she only has 1.25 pounds available. That's perfect. The customer that I have, they only want a pound anyway. So I can go ahead and select that item, actions, and then create the sales order. And that's going to bring me directly to the sales order page, enter in all the information there, and sell the product. So again, this is helpful, especially if you have product that is, if you want to assign it, you have product that may be about to expire, you want to get rid of it quickly, put that in the assignments, assign it to your salespeople to get that sold. And again, splitting it out, making it fair between your salespersons, especially with, very popular product, maybe has a high price. that they can get commission on, splitting out. That's really what that assignments feature is meant for. All right. So the next thing I want to touch on, as I said, kind of very minor, just a couple reporting updates. So specifically under harvests, so a fairly recent feature as well is this harvest production by subcategory. So this is similar to just the general harvest profitability, except it's split out into subcategories, which we just talked about with the assignments. So A buds, B buds, different subcategories that are set up and assigned to specific pieces of specific items. You can now see that in the harvest production and harvest profitability reports, and see that split out. Additionally, what we've also added is the ability to see the flowering room and, of course, the harvest room that this came from. So flowering room, I think, is really important, especially as you start utilizing those subcategories in these reports. That's going to become super helpful to see which of these rooms are producing the most product, which ones are producing the most sales, the best product, A buds versus B buds. Again, that's what ties into those subcategories. If you have, you're getting more A buds from the same amount of plants from one room versus the other, it's important to be able to see that data and action on that. And this is going to give you the opportunity to do that. So same thing with the harvest profitability. You can see that split out by subcategory. Again, subcategories are not required, but if you are utilizing them, this is going to help you drill down even further into that data. So you can see here the subcategory, we can split that out and see the flowering rooms, the sales versus with each of those. My demo account, it's a little goofy looking, but again, sales, the room that it's in, the subcategory, and seeing all that information in kind of one place. Now, this ties into what I'll go over next, which is our environmental controls. So again, this relates to existing environmental control software that you may have or thinking about implementing in your facility. So let me go into integrations first here down in admin. So I can click into environmental controls here. You'll see a new section here for environmental controls. So as of right now, we have integrations with TrollMaster and with GrowLink. We're looking at getting, I don't have it in my notes. There's another company that we're looking at implementing as well. If you have a company that's not on this list that you work with currently, please let us know and we'll look into integrating with them as well. So very simple. With the environmental sensors, you would create them or attach them to the device itself to Canix here with the model number, the API key, the device serial number, and then connect that. So you can see right now, I've got a TrollMaster device connected to my Canix CA facility, and it's tied to my veg room. So this is just an example of what that's going to look like when you have those sensors connected to Canix. So once those are connected, then it's kind of a real time as the information is recorded in TrollMaster, that's going to be synced to Canix, and you're going to be able to view those trends and those data points. So let me click into from here. Once you have that set up, again, each one of the devices in each one of your rooms, we can go into our plant section here and click into environmental data. And you can see, again, I've got just the bedroom set up for now. You can see just a quick overview here, the current air temperature, the humidity, the CO2, the light status. And if I click into this, I can see trends as well. So the past hour, the past week, the past day, I can see trends for, again, the humidity, the air temperature, the ppm. I can see all that information here and see little snapshots throughout the day. So I can split that out into the past 24 hours as well. So again, you can imagine if you have multiple rooms set up, you would click in each one of those rooms and you can see those trends here and what those look like. So this is kind of the first iteration, the first phase of this integration is seeing this information and the trends, things like that. What the next phase is going to consist of is actually tying this into the harvest profitability, the harvest production report, And this will go for your harvest rooms as well, or tie into the harvest themselves. So you can see previous trends for the plants over a certain period of time as they were in the flowering room, and then tie that into the harvest that they turned into. And then of course the sales that came from those harvests. So again, that's going to be very important to track having that data for your humidity, the light sequences, all that kind of information is going to be here. And you'll be able to tie that and see where that money, how that's turning into profit at the end of the day. So again, first iteration here, tracking the actual trends of the room itself, and then it'll tie into your harvest profitability and with different graphs and different data points as well moving forward. All right. So the last thing I want to touch on here, and again, this is something I'm really excited about. And it's coming in the near future. We're going to send out email updates to let you know that it's happening because it is a pretty big change. So just a general site-wide change to the way that you navigate. So before, let me show you an example here. So if we click into plants, I'm sure all of you are familiar with this workflow. Click into flowering, you can choose tracked, harvested, destroyed. Click into plant batches, active or inactive. The same kind of flow goes for inventory as well. With this new update, what it's going to change to is actually having just a single plants button, brings you here, and then you can change the view in the top right corner there. You can change the view that you're looking at. So if I want to look at all my tracked flowering plants, my harvested flowering plants, they're all here. Additionally, what's really cool about this is, for instance, if I have my tracked flowering plants selected here, I don't really care about the days in flower necessarily, or the total age, maybe for instance. Once I make those changes, I can get rid of those specific columns. I can move my location over here, all based on what information I want to see when I log in, when I go to track flowering plants. So these views may be different per user. And as some of you may know, the way that it works now is the reorganizing the columns, getting rid of columns, that is all specific to the device itself. With this functionality, you can now save it by the user. So if you have your head grower, you have your lab techs, you're an admin, you may all have different views, different data points that you want to see when you log in, when you go to a certain page. Now you can do that. So if I want to save this view, go to save view as, give it a name, give it a description, and then make this the default view for me as a user, or the default facility filter to current active facility. So if I'm an admin, I can leave this unchecked and it's going to give me the option to select all of the facilities, or I can select that and have it specific to that one. So let's say admin flowering as an example. So now anytime that when I'm logged in, I go to tracked flowering, I go to plants, it's going to default to this page. So if I click out of, let's go to plant batches, for instance, plant batches active, same thing applies here. I can go to inactive, active, or create my own custom view and save that here. And if I go back to plants, I can see it defaults to my admin flowering, which I just created. And I can also see that view here at the bottom under custom views. So you're always going to have the same, the same default views here. But again, applying those custom views, especially if you're in Canix constantly and are always having to, if you're changing devices or someone else is changing them right behind you after you change them on a certain device, you now have the ability to save your own view, so you're not spending time rearranging the columns and getting to do the information that you need. So again, super excited about this. We're going to send out an email to make sure everyone knows before this change takes place, so that way you can share this with the team. I'll also share a recording of this call with everyone that attended, just so you have it for reference. Additionally, one last thing, downloading the tables here, that's going to be specific to the view that you have. I know previously there were some issues with, it may have downloaded things that were filtered, things like that. So that's going to download exactly what we see here based on those filters and that view that is set. All right. So I told you it would be a little short today. I am hoping we are looking at getting mobile task management to a place where it can be demoed. So I'm hoping to go over that in our next new features webinar. That's something I'm really excited about, something a lot of our customers have been asking about. So definitely register for the next webinar. It hopefully as well, we'll have mobile sales orders at a place where we can cover that. So that's going to be really exciting to go through. But yeah, thank you everyone for hopping on today. I'll go ahead and unmute, allow everyone to talk. If you have any questions, feel free to jump on, ask them. Otherwise, we'll break there.